In the heart of rural America, where the autumn leaves painted the landscape in fiery shades of orange and red, the Johnson family had just moved into a charming old farmhouse. They had been seeking a quiet life away from the hustle and bustle of the city, and this seemed like the perfect place to start anew. The house was surrounded by acres of farmland, and right next to it, a sprawling pumpkin patch that stretched as far as the eye could see. As October approached, the days grew shorter and the nights colder. Halloween was just around the corner, and the Johnsons could feel the excitement building in the air. Their son, Tommy, was especially eager for his first Halloween in the countryside. He had always been fascinated by the eerie and mysterious, and the idea of exploring the vast pumpkin patch after dark filled him with an odd thrill. One crisp evening, as the sun dipped below the horizon and cast long shadows across the pumpkin patch, Tommy ventured out into the field. The moon hung low in the sky, casting an eerie glow over the landscape. The pumpkins, with their twisted vines and gnarled stems, seemed to come alive in the moonlight, casting eerie shadows that danced across the ground. Tommy walked deeper into the patch, the rustling leaves and the occasional hoot of an owl being his only companions. But as he ventured further, he noticed something unusual standing among the pumpkins. It was a scarecrow, its tattered clothes hanging loosely from its wooden frame. What caught Tommy's attention, however, was its face. It wore a sinister grin, carved into a rotting pumpkin that served as its head. Curiosity overcame Tommy's initial unease, and he approached the scarecrow. Its grin seemed to widen as he drew nearer, and the moonlight made its eyes appear to glisten. Tommy couldn't help but feel a shiver run down his spine, but he forced himself to speak. "Hello there," he said tentatively. "What's your name?" There was no response, of course, but as Tommy turned to leave, he thought he heard a faint whisper in the wind, a whisper that sounded almost like his own name. Over the next few days, Tommy couldn't stop thinking about the scarecrow. He visited it every evening, bringing it small gifts he had gathered from the farm. He even gave it a name, Grinning Jack, in honor of its unnerving smile. The more time he spent with the scarecrow, the more he felt that it was more than just a lifeless figure. It seemed to watch him with those hollow eyes, and he could swear he heard it whispering to him in the wind. As Halloween drew closer, Tommy's obsession with Grinning Jack grew stronger. He spent hours talking to it, telling it about his hopes and fears. And, strangely, he felt like it was listening, like it understood him in a way no one else did. One fateful night, with the full moon casting an eerie light over the pumpkin patch, Tommy made a startling discovery. Grinning Jack's mouth, that sinister grin carved into the pumpkin, had moved. It was no longer a static expression. It had twisted into a malevolent smile, revealing jagged, pointed teeth. Tommy stumbled back in horror, his heart pounding in his chest. He couldn't believe what he was seeing. Was it a trick of the moonlight? A figment of his imagination? But deep down, he knew that Grinning Jack was no ordinary scarecrow. The night of Halloween arrived, and Tommy's unease grew. He couldn't shake the feeling that something terrible was about to happen. As the sun set, he watched the moon rise with a sense of dread. It was as though Grinning Jack had been biding his time, waiting for this very night. Tommy decided to confront the scarecrow, to ask it what it wanted. He made his way to the pumpkin patch, his footsteps echoing in the silence of the night. When he reached Grinning Jack, he looked into its hollow eyes and asked, "What do you want from me?" In response, the scarecrow's mouth creaked open wider, and a voice, cold and malevolent, whispered, "I want to be free." Tommy recoiled in horror. Free from what? From this wretched existence, bound to this field, the voice hissed. "I want to experience the world, to feel what it's like to be alive." Tommy was torn. He felt a strange sympathy for the Scarecrow, but he couldn't ignore the overwhelming sense of danger. "How can I help you?" Grinning Jack's grin widened even further, and its eyes glowed with an unnatural light. "You must become one with me, Tommy. Share your life with me, and I will set you free from your mundane existence." Tommy hesitated, the weight of the decision bearing down on him. But the allure of escaping the ordinary, of experiencing something beyond his wildest dreams, was too tempting to resist. As the clock struck midnight on Halloween, Tommy made his choice. He stepped closer to Grinning Jack, and the Scarecrow's pumpkin head opened wide, enveloping him in darkness. The next morning, the Johnson family awoke to find the pumpkin patch empty, with no sign of Tommy. They searched high and low, but he was nowhere to be found. All that remained was the sinister grin of Grinning Jack, which seemed even more malevolent than before. As the years passed, the legend of Grinning Jack grew. Some believed he was a malevolent spirit that had claimed Tommy's soul, while others thought he was a guardian of the pumpkin patch, warning those who ventured too close. But one thing was certain: the pumpkin patch was never the same again. It had an eerie aura, and on Halloween nights, whispers could be heard in the wind, carrying the name of Tommy Johnson. And so, the legend of Grinning Jack lived on, a chilling tale that reminded everyone that some desires should never be pursued, and that the line between the ordinary and the supernatural was thinner than they could ever imagine. The Johnsons left the farmhouse, never to return, and the pumpkin patch remained a haunted, moonlit field, where the sins of the past and the whispers of the wind echoed for eternity.